Benson doing developer commentary, and let's just get the run underway, and we'll keep on going. I think we'll just have a good time.
All right.
So yeah, you can count it down, and the restreamer will start the timer. So whenever you're ready, Grill.
All right, let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Let's get this started with a very fun fact. The story that you have here at the beginning of the game is RNG generated. The best one you can get is the one that talks about the worst flood, fearing death, an old playground, and a mill. But the amount of time it takes to select the correct one takes so long that it's faster just to mash and hope you get lucky. Fun fact to start off the speedrun.
We made it impossible to speedrun this game.
There are some tough things in this for going faster, I agree.
What route are we going?
We are going Greg route, everybody. Greg won at the last minute.
That's good, because there's one part of this run through Greg's that I'm going to be interested to see speed run.
I am excited. Greg is the hardest route to run, essentially. Mm-hmm. The fastest route, you visit Greg one time only, which is really unfortunate. So, you know, it's kind of neat to get to see this.
So Greg's second hangout would probably be super fast. There's like there's no actual like kind of there's no things that you can like fail and elongate the sequence.
Yes, it's very quick to build a really bad robot. So I figured I'm the one who figured that one out to make the game go a little bit faster for everybody, but it was it got me the world record for a few days. Literally like a day, and then it was already taken from me. By the way, jumping here doesn't make me go faster. I just want to collect the fireflies. Also doesn't make me go slower, so you know, it's one of those things where you lose nothing.
We wanted to have a really big world in this game, and so the game ended up being a platformer just because it was fun. It's just fun to jump and stuff, and it like opened up more navigation options.
Yeah.
So it ended up like that's why the game ended up like being a platformer, was just because we're like, we want this big world and we want to encourage people to run around and explore and have fun, and like it's just way more fun to run and jump around than it is to just trudge back and forth.
I agree. For a large portion of things, we end up jumping purely because we feel like it. I mean, there are a few times where it is slightly faster to jump.
Mm-hmm.
2, 3. Like right up here, we want to get this notebook while we're on the wire because it saves us a few seconds. Also going to get down the wire a little extra fast too, and not faceplant.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that you can actually. There's other ways to avoid face planting.
I've literally never seen that before, so that's cool.
See,
I've never seen a speedrun actually of Night in the Woods, so.
The major things you're looking for, of course, there are platform sections where you want to go a lot faster. But for the large portion of it, there is knowing the fastest text options to select through.
I bet.
Yes, we have actually the person who routed the game went through the entire game and played it by hand to figure out what the fastest script would be.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's Baraboo. Shoutouts to him if for some reason he is watching the stream and everything right now, because he is a god. He made a few mistakes here and there, but I mean, he did so much. What can you expect? That's crazy.
Yeah, this is it's nuts to me that there is like a speedrun. Like we kind of assumed there would be, and we joked a lot during development just because we've watched a lot of speedruns of other games, that we're like, is this just going to be like picking the shortest sentences, because this game's script is like hundreds of thousands of words long. It's way too big. It's a giant. It's like longer than a lot of like classic novels and stuff. I know that the game's script is longer than like the Odyssey and the Iliad maybe put together.
Dang.
Nice.
It's just very, very, very big. Way too huge.
As a quick note on the text, by the way, the fastest text choices for this entire conversation are the mash choices in this particular case. That's not always the case, but you know. You guys did throw in some stuff to make it hard for speedrunning. There's a couple of text choices that are RNG that'll like really hurt how your run's doing. If we were with B normally and go shoplifting, there is an RNG text choice that can make things really difficult.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We're just here to make things more difficult, really.
Now, I'm not sure under the hood on this, but this particular hill seems to be the only hill in the game where you slow down if you're walking.
Yeah.
So we always jump up this one to keep speed.
Mm-hmm. And you run down it faster than you run other places. It increases your run speed as you go down, I believe.
See, that's awesome. Because that's just one of those things we've always suspected, but nobody was ever quite sure on. So to hear it kind of confirmed is nice.
Oh yeah, I'm here to confirm or deny everything here. So if you got any questions,
yeah,
or if the chat has any questions or anything that they're interested in,
absolutely.
Oh wait, can you go back? Somebody said that they wanted you to speedrun pierogi tasks. Just kidding.
I'll say this too, guys. Please play this full game. We're speedrunning, so we're obviously going through this as quick as possible. So you're missing out on some of the best stuff in this game. There is so much to explore and so many emotions to be had in this game. You're doing yourself a disservice if you only watch the speedrun.
I was going to say, if you speedrun it just one time through, you're probably missing about 60% of the content in the game, maybe more. Probably about 70 to 75% of the content.
No kidding. I've beaten the game fully with exploring as much as possible with both B and Greg, and I've also found all the new stuff for the Weird Autumn update. Which, by the way,
nice.
if you guys have played this before, the Weird Autumn update was free and added a ton of cool stuff. I really wish I could show off some of that right here during this song, but we're gonna skip the song because life is cruel and we're speedrunners.
Wait, how do you skip it? I actually have no idea how this works. This is awesome.
Okay, so this was added in the most recent update. You simply click the escape button and it goes through the song.
Oh.
If you're on an Xbox controller, you can do it with the start button. We only thought it was possible with the Xbox controller for a long time, and it was really annoying hooking up an Xbox controller to click the start button one time.
I seriously have to go and check and make sure and see if that was intentional or not.
We were really interested because we found it on kind of accident. So we were really unsure. Oh, gotta grab that pizza. There we go.
I'm not as involved with the updates at this point because a lot of it's like technical aspects that I don't touch very much. So I should totally. I'm writing this down.
Yeah, little things for us to point out.
Skip song.
Yeah, we can skip all the songs by clicking the escape button. We thought it was just an added feature for people who were playing through the game again for Weird Autumn stuff so that they could possibly get to stuff faster. We had no idea.
This is awesome. I feel like such like an on top of things developer.
It was kind of crazy. The world record literally changed overnight, and everyone was like, "How did he do that?" Oh. It's been a crazy time to be alive for Night in the Woods speedrunning. Everything is picked up like pretty excited and fast lately. Which, by the way, if we do this correctly, we should be able to click the R maybe 4 times. Let's see if we get this right. Okay, it's gonna be 5. Darn. It's not that bad though. By any means, it is not that bad. And of course, then we have our Aunt Mall Cop here to visit. Unfortunate.
Oh, Aunt Mall Cop.
Oh yes. She gets in our way quite a bit. Several text options and choices too. So rough for speedrunning. But yeah, I mean, I've played through this game several times to get everything, and like, so I'm not just a crazy speedrunner. Like, this was my first ever speedrun game because I liked it so much I wanted to speedrun it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it inspired me.
As like the play times on this game are all over the place because you can just do just the critical path and kind of rush through it and be done in like 6-7 hours without trying to super rush.
Yes,
you can be done between like 6 and 8, and if you're really booking it, a regular playthrough, you can get down to like 5 hours and something. But if you kind of go and do everything, it's going to be like 12 or 13 or something. And then if you play it again, which is the recommended thing to get the other route, you'll be playing the game for a while.
Yeah, no kidding. We've been trying to figure out how to do an 100% run. Routing it has been insane because we have to get every notebook page, and that involves playing through Greg's route 4 times. So yeah, you guys made that one pretty hard. So thanks on that.
That was one that I think that achievement's just called like seriously or something, because I don't think we ever expected people to go and do it. But of course, someone had done it like 48 hours after the game was out.
Yeah, of course, because people and aren't there new ones now with the weird autumn update, making it even more fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've been thinking about it. Whoever does it, it'll be the first of its kind and maybe the only. So who knows?
Yeah, that's to try to get some sort of like hyper efficient run through everything. It's just a lot of like minutia and like random stuff. Because we really liked having all these disparate elements, all these things just kind of hanging around, things for you to like poke around and do. So, I mean, you're gonna have to steal pretzels. You're gonna have to do all kinds of things, with like the rats. You're gonna have to do all that. So, like, yeah, the idea of doing that in any sort of planned out, efficient manner is mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's the only reason it hasn't been done yet is just because routing it is such a pain in the butt. Yeah. Truthfully.
Don't do it, everyone. I'm warning. Just don't do it.
And I know everyone in the chat's waiting for this. Got cups on my ears.
The cups on my ears thing was really funny because, like, I kind of threw that in as, like, a joke. Just kind of like you're walking on your friend and he's just, like, bored at work. And it's just like, yeah, I got cups on my ears. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. And that's it. But that, like, immediately became, like, this big thing. Like, people really...
I remember that. It was basically like mematic almost.
Yeah, immediately. And it was funny because in my head, Greg just kind of sounds like this, kind of, whatever. He's just talking and whatever. But like when people would stream it, they'd be like, "Hi, I'm Greg." They give him this like very big cartoon Muppet voice or something, which totally changes how I've got cups on my ears sounds.
Incredibly so.
Yeah, because in my head, he's just kind of passive, like, yeah, I got cups on my ears. But when people would stream it, they'd be like, wow, man, I got cups on my ear, So it kind of became its own little thing.
By the way, gosh, I made a small mistake there, but of course, as you see, this is the first time we electrocute ourselves during the run. We'll probably do it, I think, at least 3 more times for everybody.
Just a few more, yeah. It's a running gag in the game on Greg's route, I think, in particular.
Yes, you get electrocuted 3 times in Greg's route, and it's wonderful. In that little section, too, we just to try to save a little bit of time, we hit that third button first so that we'll be really close to the end. All of the text meshes for that are very close. There's just one with, like, one more thing on there. And this is where May denies what's on her computer. And,
Angus is very accepting of the whole thing.
He's I like Angus for that. He's not shaming her for that. That's very wonderful.
Angus keeps it real about internet porn.
Yeah, you got to keep it real about these things. That's very important.
There's a lot of porn discussion early in the game, oddly enough. Not sure why, just ended up in the game.
It feels realistic, not gonna lie.
It was fun writing this game because we were very much like, we didn't have a lot of like off-limits topics. And usually when people say that, they mean they're going to go like edgy or whatever. And it's like, no, we're just going to talk about like, random stuff that we mostly talk about in real life. And that kind of lent themselves to kind of like little funny exchanges or little things that, developed characters and that kind of thing. So kind of giving ourselves license to, talk about the porn log, which is based on an actual porn log that my friend Sean, like way up in the woods behind his house in high school, there was the porn log.
That's incredible.
This is
based on a true story.
Based on a true story. So actually, a whole lot of this game is based on very unreal stuff in some ways.
Oh, did not mean to do that.
Pierogi stuff in it.
Oh man, good pierogies. By the way,
we live in Pittsburgh now, so it's gotta have pierogies.
A fun little fact about every time I turn around. If you turn around slowly, May takes quite a bit of while, and you kind of see her wild eyes as we'll get to mention that in a little bit. But if you actually do a quick tap in the opposite direction that you were going in, and then do another tap in the direction you want to go, you turn around really, really fast. This game has movement tech, guys. We're basically playing Melee. No, we're not. But
when does May wave dash?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what happens. If you do it correctly, you don't see dust on your feet. Is the fastest way to do it. If you jump, it also kind of does it, but it's not as quick. I mean, we're talking milliseconds of difference here, but it's one of those
Hey
things.
man, it's frames.
By the way,
Save the frames.
Oh yeah, what was that all about? Is the fastest text option in this particular section. Just for something fun. It saves us 2 text skips. 2 whole skips. As we're talking about how important frames are, guys. Because you guys can see this here when we... Oh, it's okay. You guys can see this when you turn around. That really slow turnaround. I'll be not doing that often. Just want to show off what it actually looks like.
I'm amazed, just given the sheer amount of dialogue, the unreasonable amount of dialogue in this game, that you have these individual text prompts memorized. That's utterly baffling and amazing to me.
It took me a bit long. I think I have close to 100 hours on Steam on this at this point.
Nah.
So, I haven't been running this one as much recently just because we're waiting on a load remover. That's, for any of you programmers out there who know how to make those, if you want to save the Night in the Woods community a lot of trouble in trying to learn how to do it ourselves, please help us make a load remover. We'll make speedrunning this game a miracle for everybody involved.
Hey, I have a donation real fast.
Awesome, it's a good time for it, because all we're going to be doing here is denying tacos, which is really sad, but we have to save time.
No, but I want tacos.
I know.
I just have one donation here from Limey Man, $5, and Limey Man says, Greg rules, okay.
Greg does rule. I'm kind of glad we got the Greg route. I was really afraid I was going to have to play the route that I'm absolutely the best at, and then if I choked somehow, I'd look really awful. Okay, let's see here. Roundness is the fastest thing, and round is okay is also the fastest. And then people don't like you clearly is yet again the fastest.
Oh, you're missing the whole Nightmare Eyes sequence that way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We missed quite a bit. It is quite sad the amount we missed, because I mean, I remember when I first started running this game and I got to sing all the songs when we actually did stuff, and now I don't get to.
Mm-hmm. The shadow of its former self.
Yeah, the speedrun has become cruel and unusual. I do have to ask, because I mean, I know that especially I Just Want to Die Anywhere Else, like that song in particular also caught on with a lot of people. I saw a lot of covers. Who wrote the lyrics on that? So they can be congratulated for being amazing.
That was Alec. That song in particular was extremely Alec. He and I collaborated on a lot of the band songs, but that song in particular was very Alec. So he gets like total credit on that one. That one, and in Weird Autumn, there's a new song, TikTok. That was like 100% Alec too. So
I gotta say, yeah, that's the one thing, guys. If you haven't played through this, there's several more songs, and you can play songs whenever you want on May's bass.
Go play Space Dragon.
That's right. Yep, Space Dragon is quite good. How are you? So then we
like
talk to
that's our sleep tribute.
As you guys can see, I'm jumping over to the keg to try to do that fast turning around and going a little bit faster technique in general for sharing some speedrun things. Anyone else here ever done a beer before? I think that shows how much you drink beer if you're doing a beer.
Doing beer, yeah.
And Greg and Angie, they really are cute. Let's see here. We'll sit down, and soon she's going to go on a drunken tirade. Now, here's why we denied tacos earlier. If you chose to have tacos before you left, you will vomit and then talk about tacos. It saves us exactly 1 text skip, but that's what we do because we're speedrunners.
Kill the tacos, save the frames.
Exactly. And the next hangout is going to be really fun with Greg. I'm not excited to carry up a very dangerous robot because that thing, from what we know, that is
I wanted to see speed run.
It is entirely RNG to our knowledge.
Yes,
we thought that it could be faster than Bay's hangout. The only issue being you'd have to get perfect RNG to just walk up the stairs and do nothing else. Mm-hmm. So, sadly,
someone's gonna figure out at some point some way to like force the RNG for that. Like, oh, if you only take 30 steps from here to there and you do this, it somehow sets up the RNG counter to do something.
That would be incredible. I would love to see that. As a side note, all of the text choices in this car are about the same length, and unfortunately, no matter what, May always cries at the end. We cannot save her from her sadness.
Yeah.
We would try if we could. In B's route, at some point, without trying to spoil the game for people who maybe haven't seen it. Although, again, you're going to see the end of the game. You're watching a speed run. But there is actually a point where it is faster to make the correct thing and give B some good hope about seeing her mom in heaven. And we always pick that one because it's the right thing to do. I think the text boxes are like the same, but every speedrunner does it at this point, which is just highly amusing.
I have another donation from Chide, I think. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's $25. And I was also going to say, yeah, if you haven't seen the end of the game, you could go out and buy it and see if you can beat Grill on the way there.
Yeah, you want to race me? I'm doing the slower version of the run, so you could pull it off.
Exactly.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah.
There is a really great.
Be?
There's a really great guide out there by Baraboo for starting runners on speedrun.com. If people are actually interested in running this, totally check it out. It's not a hard game to learn. Other than it being 2 hours, I consider this a great starting speedrun game for people just because there's not too much hard stuff to learn in it. It's just the memorizing of the text. Let's see here. Oh, come on. And what's going on here? Do I gotta get this back leg first? Oh my gosh, Lynn. Oh, gee, that's embarrassing. There we go. We are jumping.
Reset.
Oh, I wish. We are jumping for a reason, by the way, because when we get knocked back, if we are jumping when we're knocked back, we can actually get up slightly faster. Okay. Now, it's another fun thing. We can walk all the way over here and just keep walking all the way through this load screen. And sometimes, which I don't know if you'll be able to hear it since we have all these people on commentary, you can hear her still making footsteps during the load screen, where you're not supposed to, because the game still thinks she's running. I don't know if that one's been fixed, but it's very neat. I found that on accident.
Next week.
Well, that's like the funny thing is like no matter kind of what you do with these kind of games, there's always going to be like something that's like 1 in 1 million people will do it. Actually, we haven't sold 1 million, so 1 in some thousands of people will play it. We'll do it. It's like we never thought to check if you walked backwards across the entire map or something.
Yeah, there's some ridiculous stuff that we can do. They did find a lot of the glitches that allowed us. We were able to do this one thing where we could mess with cutscenes using the notebook. We were never able to quite figure out how to make the speedrun faster though, because it got patched out before we were able to.
Alec and his team of testers have been pretty diligent on any sort of little bugs, little glitch things. Alex spent a long time actually post-release going through and just tightening up all kinds of little things for like months. It was a lot of work on his end just to get it all like super polished. As little bugs came up, because no matter how much you test a game, you can have dozens of testers working, but the first day, tens of thousands of people are going to play it, and that's more testing than could ever possibly be done.
Exactly, which
so
is probably why speedrunners
you're like, wait, how does that even happen? Yeah.
By the way, we had to say no to hearing Angus's poetry. Not Angus. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Selmers' poetry. I've got to say this: if you're playing the game, listen to Selmers' poetry. It is very worth it. Unfortunately, yet again, there's some speedrun issues, and through this route too, we also get to see the wonderful graffiti.
New Possum Springs.
Nuke Possum Springs. If anyone's ever lived in a small town, you can probably identify with that graffiti stuff.
You want to nuke it, but in a loving way.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I like my hometown. Also, wipe it off the face of the planet. But,
Let's head out to band practice, guys. Yeah, my hometown had this famous piece of graffiti that was on the side of a restaurant for the longest amount of time. and people actually got incredibly upset when they decided to re-brick the side of the building, and then they all lost the graffiti. I remember like it was like there was an op-ed for graffiti in the newspaper, which is just like, are you serious? That's marvelous.
I used to live in Altoona, Pennsylvania, small city right in the middle of nowhere in PA, and apparently in just random underpass for a while there was just written out, not really like graffiti in any sort of design way, just written out was just Ghostbusters, and that was it.
Ah, wonderful. By the way, guys, we're gonna commit some crimes. Our first bit of crimes in Greg route. The beginning of this, where we're going through the store a little bit, is not as terrifying, but you will see what we're talking about the RNG in a little bit. And that is a little scary. There's a chance I'll mess up just because you can't really practice for RNG. You can do all you want, but you just can't do it.
During development, I only ever did it perfectly a few times. I was never very good at it. I was never good at that, and I was never good at well, no, that's not true. I've beaten Demon Tower in one run a bunch of times, but
Demon Tower has also been speedran. Let me tell you, that is a game to speedrun that is a little bit hard.
It's that second to last area with the throwing knives.
There is a small glitch in the game that does occasionally make it completely unbeatable. Maybe I can share that with you at some point, just because I don't remember how it works at the top of the game. Some of the layouts make it so you can't get the true ending sometimes. So there's a fun note for you.
Hold on, let me write this down. Patch Demon Tower so you can't possibly speedrun it.
That's only if you're going for true ending. I mean, we could
true.
torture ourselves worse, but...
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of forced walking and pauses during a lot of these scenes, which I bet is kind of frustrating if you're trying to run this.
Yes,
Just like, hurry up!
So, just to say how amazing in general this run is, like, the Weird Autumn update was. Darn, I missed that jump. Let's try this again. Wow, just not going to give it to me today. Alright, let's see here. We'll try to do this as a big triple jump and just run for it. 1, 2, 3. Just, wow. Maybe? No? No, that's not a jump thing anymore. Dang it. But when you guys did the Weird Autumn update, the loading became so quick that even though you guys added some cutscenes and I do not understand why I'm flipping so hard right now, guys. I'm sorry. There we go.
There he is. Yeah, you gotta get right on the edge. I think
I haven't had this bad of luck in quite a while. Let's see here. Wow. So anyways, if you have any donations, you could totally save me some embarrassment. Ah, gosh darn it.
I wish I did, but I would like to.
There we go.
there it is.
Nice, yay.
That jump can sometimes be a little bit tricky, as you guys just noticed.
Yeah, there's a few kind of finicky jumps here and there.
Which is usually good for the speedrunners.
Hold on. I'm making a note. Make that jump harder.
Make a Greg route really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Greg route is by far the hardest one. It is a little bit longer, but it's also it's harder. All right.
I would assume because it's hard because of the stairs and the knife fight.
Yeah, there's a few things like that. There's also some fun stuff where you can actually clash knives against each other.
Yeah.
And there's a different, and I'll save this as a fun thing. You can actually change the color of one of the knives if you do something really cool in the game, by the way. I'm pretty sure that that's actually a small thing that's actually put in the game on purpose. I don't think that's just something we discovered on accident. And we are going to... We're going to pick the rabbit head, by the way, just because it's the fastest smash choice for all of the text afterwards.
I want to step in here to remind people we have less than 2 hours remaining in this run, which means that we have less than 2 hours remaining to meet the donation incentive for the glitched bonus run of Super Mario Land 2. So definitely get that in. That will be real fun. And it's extra content. I guess there's really 3 extra runs, because there's that, and then there's also the Link to the Past 2-player, 1 controller, or wait, sorry, 1 player, 1 controller, 2 games, and also the Pyramid Run. So yeah, definitely get your donations in for that. But that SML2 needs a friend.
I'll say right
And
now that RNG on those stairs was so lucky. So many ups. So this is the part we were talking about together, everybody. This part can be very fun because it can make you just go down a whole ton, but apparently the game is deciding to just be really kind and let us go up a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've had really, really good luck on this.
Usually marathon luck is the opposite, so I don't know what's going on here. Decided to be kind after all those jumps were so hard.
Making a note that we need to make this more difficult.
Even
it'd be
more
funny
difficult.
if we just like patched in all this stuff just to confound speedrunners like a year after the game came out.
I mean, it would definitely create some interest in the speedrun. We don't have a huge community, but those of us who are in it really do love the heck out of this game. Like, that's usually the reason people say they want to run it, because they're like, why would you run Night in the Woods? Because all you're doing is, like, text and stuff. And we're like, no, this is really fun because we love this game. I've completed this game over, like, 20 times in my lifetime now because of speedrunning. Now, everyone heard us mentioning pierogies earlier. If you ever have a chance to eat a really good pierogi, definitely take your opportunity, guys. Now, unfortunately, we need to get one of these to hopefully actually land in his mouth, because I'm pretty sure it does not actually allow us to totally not... Oh gosh, darn. It doesn't allow us to have them run out until one hits. I'm not sure if that's true, but we've had some interesting cases of things. And you also need to try to throw each one at least once, if I remember correctly.
I feel like almost all like the games of skill show up in the Greg route.
They do, and that's part of what makes it really hard. Wow, I could have swore that one was going to go in his mouth. I'm a little surprised there that one decided to be a little harsh on us. We're trying to get rid of as many pierogies as we can, while also, hopefully, please just go in his mouth. Come on! There we go, we got one.
There it is.
Because there's actually quite a few we have to go through before he'll say, see, look, now we're out of pierogies. At least one's got to hit first. And now we get to learn a little bit about what's going on with Greg. If you guys don't know, I mean, Greg is considering moving to a new town. Big deal when your friends move towns, right?
I should just be filling people in on all the story that's going past. Okay, so anyway, so Greg, just keep going. There's so much.
Yeah, there really is a lot of story that we're skipping through. We get a mention of his sheep tattoo, which because we're doing full Greg route, we get to see and learn a little bit more about his tattoo later, although we're going to be mashing through as fast as possible. Most of Greg route is actually mashing to get the fastest choice. So we're a little lucky there that we don't have to route the text as much for the hardest run. And another fun fact, if you actually jump all the way up the stairs, it'll take you longer to get to the load screen. For some reason, I don't know if there's a technical thing, but it seems that you have to be on the ground for that to actually go through properly.
That might be a collision thing. Like you have to hit an actual spot to load it, and jumping might delay that.
Yeah, it's a 1 or 2 second time saver. Now this would be really fun because I'm assuming you know the lore behind these little friends that we're going to be coming and finding here. Who will be playing some fun music for us. At least I'm guessing you might.
Yeah, these guys that's like the actual kind of like follow up to them that you can kind of find elsewhere in the game later is kind of some pretty deep like you gotta be really checking out a lot of stuff throughout the game, I think, to reach kind of the next little plot point about them. They're kind of off the beaten path a bit.
Yeah, it's one of those very cool things that you guys, again, if you play the game, when I'm talking about, you should explore everything. Explore it. Just do it, because you're going to find cool stuff. By the way, whenever we run into wires like this, we're always jumping, because walking takes forever.
Yeah, but you get that little, like, dunk, 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 dunk noise.
Yeah. Let's see here. Now, there we go, because I got him earlier. There's 2 different routes to this where you can go grab him before you get the first ones over here, or you can save him for last. There's not a lot of time on it that's different, but I'm trying to take the safe routes as much as possible. There's not too many like marathon safe routes when you're thinking about this kind of thing, but they do exist in this game for the major platforming sections, just to be a little careful. Let me see here. Not this dream. I think it's in the next 2 dreams there will be one where there is a good chance that you can fall and really have to do a lot of jumping to make up for it. So I'll probably take a safety strat on it. We'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of the remaining dreams have some definite bits where you could fall for a while.
And then we wake up. By the way, another fun fact: when you see May running during these like load screens, usually you can start clicking whichever direction you want to go in. And so we partially do that for the speed run to, of course, save time, because every time you're stuck waiting and then having to start up again. So it's actually really also difficult to create a load remover because we're technically putting in inputs during the load screens. Which I thought was actually really neat that the game, because the game in general, if you don't unpress and then re-click to continue moving, then it won't count. You actually have to go out of your way to let go of the key and then redo it during the load screens. I don't know if that's also something intentional or hidden, but it makes us have to pay way more attention for the speed run. So yeah, another little difficulty boost.
I like the idea that like all these like tiny things are just to kind of confound speedrunners.
It is very neat. Like I said, we have movement tech. Like especially because of me, we'll be hanging out with Greg. I get to show off the movement tech during one really major part of the run, so you guys will get to really see that in action and how much speed it saves us. In that particular section of the run, I think if we do it correctly, we actually get like about 6 to 7 seconds of time just by not taking a long time to turn around.
Mm-hmm. The candy in the Snack Falcon randomizes every day, by the way.
I saw that when the game came out. I saw a tweet about that, and I thought that was the coolest thing.
There are so many little things like that are all over the game, just tiny little touches that are... I don't know if anyone but us notices, but we're pretty happy with it. Alec, wrote a little kind of a cool thing for that. It's pretty sweet.
Now, my friends, we get to beat up a car. If you've ever enjoyed beating the crud out of a car, there is a I mean, our school used to always do a thing like that where you could donate to beat up an old car for like homecoming and stuff like every year. Smash capitalism, smash the government, smash this car. Now, there is a fast way to smash the car optimally. It is not always easy to actually make work properly, though. You can be able to, you have to actually beat up the car a certain amount before Greg will be happy with it enough to take out the battery, even though it's obviously really beaten up. Let's see here. Blood, give me blood. The final blood. Okay, which mirror did it decide it wasn't good enough? That one. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, it's very hard to be able to tell how many hits you need and where. There's no good audio cues, there's nothing like that, but There we go, second electrocution.
There it is.
Now we get to see our Lord and Savior Sharkle. Blessed be his holy word of...
This entire sequence was concepted, written, and built out in like one afternoon. Because it was just a random idea, and then we're like, yeah, let's do this, and then we tried it, and it was pretty funny. So that's it. I don't think we really touched it until the game was out. It was one of those like moments of just everything coming together.
2 fun facts. That is the only section in the game where every text choice is not a mash choice. It is always the second choice to go faster. And if you want to, someone has made a custom program to put a Sharkle on your own computer, and it's wonderful. You click it and it makes the noises and everything.
I saw that and I loved it.
I have it. I've had it on my laptops in the past. I just got a new computer, so I'll have to fix that. Positive and negative jokes. It's a good time. Most of this is this is yet again, we're just mashing to go as fast as possible. The first choice is mostly, for the most part, the fastest. When we get to the building of the robot, that'll be really fun too. Here's a great tech question. For a while, I thought that you were able to move the starting screwdriver you use to build the robot during the sequence where they're talking about building the robot. But that doesn't always seem to work. We've wondered if it actually is completely random where it shows up, but we have no idea. Random tech question in case you magically know about something that minor in the game.
That I do not know about,
Because
unfortunately.
sometimes we've been lucky and been able to get it to start in the corner, and that is
Uh-huh.
a slightly faster thing for all of us. We always put the head on the leg, by the way, just because it's faster.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It clips to the leg a little bit faster so that we can get to this little part about seeing their baby robot son with a head for a leg.
It's beautiful.
It is. The biggest reason that most people thought that this part of the run would be longer is because they thought you'd have to actually build the robot correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I proved them wrong.
Oh yeah, no, you can make a complete mess, a horrible mess of that thing.
Which is way more fun personally. It feels more like what they were going for. Like if I was friends with Greg. And there we go, our third electrocution
There it is.
of the run. Ah, nice and zappy.
This was a very, very fun animation loop to make. May laying there in some sort of electrocuted state.
And Angus is so chill about it. I've got to admit, if like, I don't know, if the person I was dating, like one of our friends was being electrocuted on the ground and I came home, I'd be a little more concerned.
He's understated.
Angus, I mean, everyone knows that Greg rules, okay? But Angus, I mean, everyone can use an Angus in their lives.
The Greg Rules thing is funny because that comes from, it was just something like the punk kids that I hung out with would say when I was in high school, like, you know, someone rules, okay. I think a few bands have had like little demos or albums called like X, whatever their band name is, rules, okay. And then the guitarist for the Bouncing Souls, I think, had on the back of his guitar, Pete rules, okay. So it's just been kind of a constant little thing. So it made its way into this game.
That is such a cool little like note and nod because I mean, almost all of the donations for Greg today have been Greg rules, okay.
Yeah.
But, so it's so cool to know that comes from somewhere and wasn't just like, yeah, this is just a neat little like amazing bit of work. By the way, for people who casually play this game, I can't tell you how many times I've watched people struggle to realize that you're supposed to be able to walk on water for this dream. So much fun to watch people like, why can't I? What? It's that ingrained video game logic, you know, of water kills you for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so much death in this game, so
There really is.
It's understandable. All the lava levels and swinging chain balls and stuff.
Oh yeah, and I mean we go to a graveyard several times. There's ghosts. It gets pretty intense.
Ghouls, etc.
Oh yeah, it's a very scary run. I'm surprised they let me put it on the speed run. Try not to have a heart attack, anybody.
Yeah, try not to get too spooked, everyone.
Let's see here. There's a few jumps here that I just really don't want to miss. Nothing like crazy, but you know. This is one of those ones where it's like, yeah, you could lose some time if you're not having a good day. If you can actually, sometimes you can trick the game to let you triple jump onto that ramp early too, which is really neat, but
Yeah,
it's
you
not
can
always fun to try
finagle
to
some
do.
triple jumps here and there on weird places you wouldn't expect.
Oh, darn it, didn't quite make it up. There we go. You can also jump backwards, by the way. Just completely just go backwards for no other reason other than you want to. Now, this is also a fun one to watch people struggle with. Most people don't realize that you can just jump right back in here if, of course, the jump will make it. Wow, really, game? Come on, be kind to me. Now you give me good RNG. There we go.
There
Sometimes
it is.
it's actually hard to get in there.
Mhm.
This dream is like the troll dream. It's just trying to mess with people. The hardest dream is Dream 4. It took me like, I think it was like 10 or so runs before I actually finally got the optimized route on that particular route correct. It took me quite a while.
I realize that like I have kind of optimal runs, just muscle memory now, just from like running them so many times when we were making the game, just over and over and over again.
We'll just have to put the guide in your hands, and then we'll do a race. We'll race the normal routes at the next year's marathon or something.
there was a button in debug that you could hold down, and it would speed everything up like 2 or 3 times as much.
We have
And
talked
so-
about that a lot. If anyone could find that version of the game, if we would count it for speedruns or not, or make it its own category. Thankfully, no one's gotten their hands on it yet.
I don't know if that debug key ever made it into a release version. There was a debug thing at one point where in the Snack Falcon, the debug menu was left on, but you had to, but only in the PlayStation version. And we couldn't figure out how someone was doing that because you had to do keyboard inputs to bring up the debug menu. And then we're like, oh wait, yeah, some folks have keyboards.
I mean, even the
Plugged into
GameCube
their
has keyboards.
I just never met anyone who had a keyboard on their PS4, so like none of us had. So we're like, oh wow. So that had to go get patched out because the way that this game works is each day there's like a little script thing that, you know, as you go through each day and each act, it arranges, you know, people and various things in where they need to be for that day. And that changes each day with like different dialogue and different characters and different placement, different opportunities to go to the woods with Greg. Can't skip this next part, I imagine.
Nope. Yeah, this is just fun. We get to watch this beautiful cutscene. That's part of why the run for Greg is longer, but it's so worth it. So pretty.
I love Alex's music for this part too. It's one of my favorite tracks in the game. The song you dance to, possibly with B on the B route, is a reprise of this song.
It's cool that you get to hear it either way, because it is such a good song.
Yeah, B gets the more dancey version of it. But anyway, so we have this like act day tracker thing, and the demo for the game that we showed for years that we, you know, took to GDC and E3 and in 2014 is in here as day 0, but it's inaccessible because the game starts you in day 1, and unless you go to the debug menu and change it, and we found that some people were accidentally with their PlayStation keyboards triggering demo content, so they'd be like, why is Greg on the roof here, and why is this happening and that, and we're like, how did this even happen? But yeah, no, that was probably the most interesting little like glitch that came up post launch.
That's honestly just incredibly interesting, because we
It's
always
like
assumed
only
if we
a few people did it.
See, because the theory for us speedrunners for the game has always been that we'd be able to, if we were able to do it, we could get into that mode, potentially use the speedy debug. Come on, Greg. There we go.
There we are.
I was gonna say, I don't know why I wasn't. When I jumped up there originally, it just didn't let me. So I'm like, maybe I just gotta move a little bit. We've had some times in just other games I run. Sometimes if you go too fast, things just don't quite load.
Yeah, that's yeah, I assume that's just all like hitting various like collision points to trigger things. And if you're going, yeah, there's like ways of hitting it just the wrong way or going through it like too fast or something that will not trigger the collision.
Yeah,
nice,
it happens.
Nice stabbing, by the way.
Thank you. I've done some stabbing in my day. Okay, not like this, but I mean, you know. Wow. By the way, I'm not actually sure, because I mean, usually it's for speedrunning, we're just trying to stab as fast as we can. Is there a way to actually dodge with May? Because I mean, I know that Greg can pull his hand back. I don't actually know if May can. I've never figured it out.
I believe you can, yeah, either with the B or the X or whatever I think the cancel button is, I believe. I haven't played it in a while.
Oh, look at that. We actually had a knife clash.
Oh, nice.
If you get enough, I think the thing is, if you get enough of those, you can actually he will switch knives partway through the fight, if I remember right, and get like a different colored knife.
We've heard about that. I've never seen that ever.
I've done it once on accident, I think.
I think I know why that happens, because that's not intentional. That's I think I know why that happens though, but we've never seen it. We've never been able to reproduce it. So, but we've heard it like occasionally someone mention it. So yeah, because people have asked about it, and at first I was like, no, that's not a thing. But then later, a couple other people have mentioned it, and I was like, really? Wow. So yeah, that's one of those like unknown mythical things even to us.
Wow, something so rare even the devs weren't sure it existed. That's kind of cool.
And we looked for it, and I think I know why it's happened. Yeah. Hold on, let me write this down.
I'm curious. We're gonna have to hear the update after, like, big thing on Twitter. Just like, okay, so I learned everything from the speedrun.
Yeah, no, that's funny because there's so much like there's just so many elements. There's so many little things like that every once in a while. I think Orange Knife is the only thing of that sort that is like we kind of thought was just like a like just something someone like made up at one point just because we hadn't seen it. And then when we've looked for it, as far as I know, we haven't found it. So yeah, so if anyone can like reproduce it a bunch, let us know.
We may have a video of it. That would be sweet because we may have a video of it somewhere for speedrunning stuff. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. This is fun. I mean, the crossbow in general is very fun for the things that you can shoot at, but speedrunning, you have to get rid of all the arrows as fast as possible, so you're trying to get it to go quickly.
These arrows were modeled by Heather Penn, who's a really amazing artist. She's working on Overland, which is our publisher. Finji also just makes games on their own, and they're making a game called Overland. And Heather is the lead artist, art director on that, and she's fantastic.
By the way, I'm super not going to care if I hit. As a fair warning, I'm just trying to run out of arrows. Okay, hold it down. Because sometimes this likes to be a pain in the butt and not quite go either. We scared a bird.
You need to like accidentally get it right between the eyes or something.
Oh, I mean, it's possible. We could try. I'm waiting for the audio cue. There we go. This is one of those things that you can't actually mash through because it likes to be a pain in the butt and then just not accept that you hit anything. I think, there we go. I think we got some between the eyes action there. At least pretty close. And then right on the eyeball.
There it is.
Okay, gotta hold this trigger. See, that's a tough thing too, because you can be holding the trigger and then it just sometimes... And you'll accidentally start off the... Oh, look at that! We actually got the achievement.
Oh, nice! You got a sweet Chivo.
Yeah,
it was really funny because late on we realized we needed achievements, and this is just not a game that's made for achievements. So we're like, okay, which things are actually achievement worthy? There's a few that we knew we wanted, and they were mostly for like completing, like being kind of a completionist about different things. But yeah, so we added into things like like shooting the forest god here and stuff.
See, to me, that is just incredibly neat. Which, by the way, part of the reasons why I don't have some of the achievements, if they do pop up during the game, guys, we have to like for speedruns, for the most part, we have to make sure that we pretty much keep the memory clear. Especially like every time we restart, even if we've gone through the game an entire time, we have to restart because of how the notebooks work. So we would be gaining a little bit of time on accident, new game plussing it for like 3 or 4 seconds of saved time. New Game Plus is not a category in this game, so...
Well, it is, but everyone does double damage and has double HP, but no one fights. So...
Yeah, so it doesn't do you much good.
Yeah. Like here, Greg is deadly, but you just never know.
That's the incredible tough thing about trying to do the runs for if we wanted to do the 100% routes, because if you could just got that robot right away, quit, reset your file, restarted the game to get to the robot section again, you're stuck. It gets rid of that notebook page. So you have to completely beat Greg's route like at least 4 times, and I think even each robot also has a how well you've built it notebook page, if I remember correct. So it's like absolutely ridiculous. Someday, I'll do it someday, but not for a marathon.
We were really, really big on those kind of variations that would show like your kind of unique playthrough. Not in the sense of like, oh, look how unique it was, but like we just like having like little bits of content that you could, in like kind of like little nooks and crannies throughout the game that you could find, and that it would kind of respond to what you were doing. So it's not a game we made with like completionists in mind. But it was interesting because, like I said, like immediately people 100%ing it. And I literally thought, or like getting all the sketches is something that we thought like almost no one would ever get, but of course, folks
People who
were
play
doing
video
it
games always
immediately.
surprise, right?
Yeah. I've 100%ed only a few games in my life, but I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I know I've done at least one. Even something like Dark Souls, which I'm playing through right now because the remaster just came out, I've played through that game like seriously 10 or 12 times, and I've never 100%ed that, ever, so...
There we go. To try to get this faster route right, we'll see what happens. If not, there's a very easy way to fix this route if I don't get it quite the way that I want, and I don't think I'm gonna. Oh well, that's all good. There's a way you can fall and then be able to get up to this building a little bit faster, but it's one of those big shrug things. It's not too big of a deal. I don't think the world record run even actually does that. So that tells you how little we managed to get it right. This game has room to improve, guys. If you're seeing this and you're like, this looks like a really cool game, please join the speedrunning community. We've got a Discord and everything, and we're always looking for more friends to play Night in the Woods with us.
Find things I don't know about.
Exactly. So what you're saying is
multiple knives.
So if I find anything broken, I'm just allowed to send it to you now and be like, look what I broke. It's quite possible that I may find more.
Yeah, please. Send
There's
them to me personally.
That was absolutely awesome. Okay, so I landed right on top of the building there, which is not always an easy fall to do, but I actually did it. Yay! This is the one where if you don't quite make the jump,
oh yeah,
it's very sad. You have to go all the way back, and it's a pain in the butt. Now we're going to be heading over here to get our last friend. Our last awesome musical friend. I'm not sure how well you guys can hear the music on this stream, but let me tell you, Night in the Woods is amazing for its soundtrack. I know Scott's been mentioning it too, but seriously, it's such good music.
Yeah, Alec did, I think, over 100 tracks for this game. It's a huge, huge soundtrack.
And I'll say, I mean, just from an exploring the game perspective, it's amazing, but also as a speedrunner, it's great to not have to, when you have to hear a song so many times, for it to not be torture. Like, it's entertaining. I've never found myself going, man, I really wish that song wasn't playing, ever, listening to this game. Which is a good sign, you know.
Alec did individual town tracks, I believe, for every act, and also rainy day variants, and each of those tracks are like 5 to 7 minutes long at least, just so that as you're wandering around town, because there's so much that you're not doing in this run, obviously, like huge chunks of the game.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're not doing, and so, but if you were going to do all those, you'd have to do a lot of running around town every day. And so Alec made these really long tracks so that it wouldn't repeat quickly. So you could always be kind of hearing new things as it went.
Which is truthfully amazing, because I know there's certain events and things you can only do in this game on certain days and such. If I'm right, I mean, whenever I've played through casually, I have not been, you know, as studious as I would be from speedrunning. But it's one of those things that just it impresses me how much thought went into just every little detail. Especially in Weird Autumn, guys. There's 2 new hangouts at least, right? So again, I suggest if people haven't played this, do it.
Yeah. There's, I don't know if I want to spoil it. Yeah, there's a few kind of longish bits that you can go do that I know of, that I remember. I'm trying to remember because it was almost a year ago that I was working on Weird Autumn. Alec was working on it for like kind of into the fall, but most of my work just doing content stuff was last year in the summer. And I was kind of like half comatose for most of the year just because of like post Night in the Woods launch stuff. So,
I remember hearing about your guys' workload was insane for that, so props to you for surviving.
Oh yeah, I feel like the story of my like struggle, like, or like my issues when we were finishing the game, like health-wise, became kind of like a big story in and of themselves, and stuff, you know, for better or for worse. But yeah, so like I was kind of like out of it for a lot of last year. So there are things in Weird Autumn that even like a month later, I barely remembered putting in. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Oh. So yeah, but Weird Autumn added a lot of stuff. And that was like really fun to do, just to, you know, have all this new stuff in here.
By the way, guys, we just got spooky. Witch dagger. Gotta love
I
that.
love when people cosplay just the Witch Dagger costume.
It's quite wonderful. I've considered the idea of doing a cosplay for Night in the Woods of some kind. By the way, interesting fact for you. I don't know if the devs will know about this. So we tried to make a load remover in general. We figured out that we were only taking screen swipes, not actual load screens. So it's not accurate. However, for some reason, the Harfest one that we just saw does not work the same as any of the others in the game. No idea why. If you want to ask them about that one, that would be very interesting.
It's festive for Harfest.
Where it was just one of those things that really surprised us. It's like, why does this one particular wipe not show up and have slightly different code than all of the others? I don't know if it's because the town itself is changing or what. I mean, we've had lots of ideas, but we've never been sure.
I should point out that a lot of the rando people that you just ran by are Kickstarter backers who had their little like animal character people put in there.
That's super awesome. That is a really good. That's a good Kickstarter backing idea right there. To get to see your own little fluffy friends or selves. I guess
That was the funny thing. So when we were doing the Kickstarter, I was like, okay, well, as a reward, if someone wants to make like a little cartoon animal version of themselves, they can do it. And like for whatever reason, just were not familiar with furries at the time.
I was about to say, I bet a bunch of furries came in, right?
Yeah, that was like a huge thing. Like, we just didn't know like at all. Like now we are pros. We know so much about the furries, and they are very gracious and have been very supportive of the game. But at first, we just had no idea. We're like, oh wow, all these people are really into this idea.
I mean, I admit I've enjoyed stuff in the furry community. The guy Baraboo, the guy who I was mentioning, who had the world record for the longest time, was also a fur, and that's part of, he was an inspiration to run this. Was he loved the game so much? It seems to be everyone who ends up running this in the end. It's just like, I really loved this game. I want to try. It's like it's our own way of paying homage to the game and throwing up streams for Night in the Woods even years after its release or whatever. Like, we'll still be speedrunning this to get it faster.
We didn't think that a lot of people were gonna want to stream it, like just even like the long form version, because there's so much reading involved. And so one of the things I love now is when I've seen streamers do it, and they start off doing the voices of the different characters, but they do them in a way that's clearly going to be difficult to do for a long time. And I'm like, oh, you poor people. Like, you got about 8 hours of this to go, at least, of doing these voices.
Well, I mean, I'm going to have to try something here. We're about to see the janitor, and there's a whole lot of theories about the deep lore of the game, that in some way the janitor is the forest god in some way.
Oh, that's one of my favorite fan theories. Like, that one is, like, really... There was one about the forest god and the janitor that was, like, so complicated. It involved, like, crystals, I think, and all kinds of other stuff. I was just reading, I was like, wow. Because it's just not the kind of thought process we would have had making the game. So one of the things that's interesting about fan theories is seeing kind of the various thought processes and assumptions and, like, kind of, like, fictional influences that people bring into it that are, like, completely different than what we were thinking.
I've got to say too, guys, if you've played this game and really, really do love it, like hardcore, and maybe you're sitting there in the channel, you're like, oh, I've played this so many times, I love this. Check out the supplemental games. I can't tell you how many people have skipped the supplemental games. And they're in the Weird Autumn update. You can just play them, and they're awesome. There's lots of little references to things that you see later in the game. Like, if you actually play the supplemental title, and then you get to do B's final day, which we won't get to do because we're taking Greg route, there's actually a reference about a musical that they went and both saw that you'll actually know what the heck is going on if you've played The Longest Night, which I'm just quick humble brag. I got the world record for The Longest Night supplemental title. Nice. But that's another reason that I recommend playing it, because I didn't actually realize that they existed at one point, and then I was on like speedruns.com and I'm like, what? And then I play them, and I'm like, this is really cool. Yeah, it adds that much more to the lore.
There's a lot of tie-in between Longest Night and Lost Constellation and this. Those are fun to do because we were, particularly Longest Night, you know, it was like the first little thing we made. We made that like only a couple months or a month or so after the Kickstarter, and we'd only been working on the game for a few months before that. So that was like our first little, like, we wanted to release something, a little standalone thing. And it was kind of practice for working together, just kind of making a full little like thing to release, working with like animation. And that was like my first time really writing for the characters, which is why it's a little clunky at times. But you look back on it fondly. And then I'm still pretty happy with Lost Constellation. We made that game in 5 weeks or so. From like conception to completion, and I think it holds up pretty well. And that was fun because we really started building out a lot of kind of the just some of the kind of world that it is. And there's also lots of Young May and Granddad content, and those two are fun to work with.
Well, gosh, I don't want to spoil something in Weird Autumn. I was just say, go play Weird Autumn if you really love the Granddad. I'm just saying. And really explore it. There's a touching moment, people. Go do that.
Yeah, actually, and there's a couple Granddad related things in Night in the Woods proper that I think maybe resonate a bit more if you've played Lost Constellation first.
Yeah, I would. That's why I definitely say people play the supplemental games. By the way, I can't remember if I had heard this right or not. Isn't there going to be like a third final mini supplemental game of some kind? Like, is that in development? I don't remember.
Oh yeah, there's a Kickstarter thing that's connected to. So yeah, we're not really talking about it right now, but
that's quite fair. I was going to give you the opportunity, like if it's something big you're talking about, or like hyping everything up.
Making a big announcement. Okay, 100 Mays parachute onto an island.
Oh, and, you know how much I would actually play that with baseball bats?
I think I was on the Giant Beast Cast. If anyone listens to that, it's a really good podcast from the Giant Bomb East folks. And that was the joke, is that that the Night in the Woods 2 was going to be a PUBG. Like, we're gonna have a battle royale mode. But I was saying that like what would be funny is like 100 Mays land on an island and they have to form a society and varying tribes of Mays all like at each other's throats and stuff. So I don't think an island of 100 Mays could be super constructive and cooperative all the time.
Yeah, she doesn't seem the type to even get along well with herself.
yeah, she's not at a stage in her life where that would go well at all, I don't think.
I gotta say that's another amazing part of the game. Is like it captures, I think, a big part of life, like coming back to your hometown after so many years and doing stuff and not knowing what you're gonna do with your life. Like I think that's a feeling that resonates with tons of people and hasn't ever been explored properly in a game till Night in the Woods. And it was done very well.
Well, thanks. I think at the beginning I was really just jazzed to make a game about people who were like 19 through maybe 21 who weren't going to college, because I didn't go to college, and I'd rarely seen games that stories about people who just weren't in college at that age, who were just working crappy jobs at home, or were like just on a different trajectory, or were trying to get to college, or just didn't want to, or something. That was just something I hadn't seen very much, because we tend to only tell stories about folks in certain kind of like social classes. So the idea of like, no, I'm just working a service industry job with no plan on going to college is something you just don't see a lot in games.
And I mean, I kind of did that, but my job life was very odd. I mean, to be dead honest with you, I actually worked for a circus for 4 years. And
Holy
then
crap!
Yeah, that's what I did during high school. I traveled around every summer with a show and performed for people. And then
what did you do?
I was a juggler and fire breather.
Wow.
Yeah, I grew up in a town that had a ton of circus influence. So like, I highly recommend people don't just try to run away and join the circus. It does not work that way. I grew up in the hometown of the Ringling Brothers, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it helps a little bit. But after that, I came home and I thought I was going to be circus performing my whole life, and then it just didn't happen, and I didn't know about college, so I was just like, what do I do now? No practical job experience. Most people on my resume didn't believe me. They'd make the phone. I'd like just call them. They'll tell you. But it's I definitely know a lot of
both
people who've done
Ringling
that.
Brothers, and they'll confirm.
Oh, I wish. I never got to actually meet the Ringlings themselves. I worked for a subsidiary of Ringling. They own a lot of circuses, guys. I know the main show is now out of business, but there's still circuses out and performing in places through them, technically.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and there's a giant circus museum that's pretty neat too.
In high school, I worked at McDonald's. I did landscaping, and I did telemarketing, and I just played in like ska bands because it was the late '90s, and that's what you did. So I just like went to punk shows and worked crappy jobs. I didn't get to go with the circus though. That's amazing. That's far more interesting than what I did.
Best job I've ever had. I miss it a lot, but you know, I very much understood the all of a sudden I came back home and my large amount of money I kind of had from performing was just it ran out, and I'm like, I have to get a normal job. This is weird. Like, I know there's so many people just after high school in general like don't know what to do. By the way, we'll be doing the fastest route to get through all of these as quickly as possible. Nice. There's a slightly fast one, so unfortunately we miss a lot of fun little story that you can get by just going through this too. Again, explore this game.
Little video game trivia here. So Bethany, my wife, she was like the co-writer on the game. She wrote the text for all of these. I think for most of them. I think I wrote the ones for the actual ghost clues here. But these were because we were coming in pretty hot on release, and we called in a few favors for some friends. The person who actually typed this up is Carla, who works at Fulbright. She, if you see something typed up in Gone Home Coma, that was her. So yeah.
This is why it's so awesome to have someone who is a part of the team on the run. We get to learn all these tiny little like things that we don't normally get to.
Learned that Carla Zamanja typed up the microfiche things.
By the way, this is normally, yet again, I mentioned earlier, never skip poetry. But we have to for the speedrun because it's very long. But if you play through this game, don't do yourself the disservice of skipping through the poetry. And now for I think the most May line of the whole game. Poetry doesn't have to rhyme. That was the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
May is just not having it at all.
Yeah, it feels so much like her too. Fun fact for the programming, by the way, which I'm assuming you probably know this, but all of these facial expressions are actually programmed in emoji.
Yeah, a lot of them are. Some of them are hardwired in, or hard-coded in.
Oh, there are some hard-coded in? Well, I've been saying some bad facts for a while.
If Alec is watching this, he's probably like, that's totally not the right term for it. But like, yeah, no, we set up in Yarn, which is our Twine-like dialogue system. Yeah, you could trigger facial expressions and some motions via emojis.
Which is really cool. I always thought, everyone who always talks about the quote-unquote trivia of the game says it's all of them, so now I'm going to tell people they're wrong. Ha ha ha.
It's some of them.
It's one of those little facts that just is really, really cool to learn, because that is definitely something I wouldn't have known otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, we could type something like May, May : I would pizza now, and then : parentheses to make a smiley face, and she would smile. And then we'd have to reset it, so the reset to make her face neutral was just the kind of neutral face that's just like the two eyes and like the flat line. Yeah, it was that one was pretty fun. And there's little things like if you typed oh geez, because I don't actually know, like if you typed \o /o May will like raise her arms and stuff and do her little excited like yay type of thing. I think that's also might be how you trigger Greg waving his arms too. It's one of those. There's an actual emoji for that one.
That's cool. Because I was the first thing I thought when you were mentioning like some of them had to kind of be hard put in. I was like, I assume the arm wiggles. I mean, that's kind of neat that one of all of them is actually the emoji. That
corresponded to an emotion, so we would have little like emotions and things like, like various angry faces. You could trigger kind of an angry face or a sad face or something, and everyone would have their own version of that. And then May and Greg, who are kind of our most like expressive characters, like as far as like their actual arm movements and stuff. I believe that the wiggle arm for Greg and the yay arms for May might be the same command, depending on whose dialogue it is.
Okay, come
Do
on.
y'all mind if I butt in with a couple of donations?
Feel
Please.
free, because I'm trying to make a triple jump work that just doesn't like me today. Oh, well.
All right.
We'll go
Well,
this way.
I wish you luck. I'm gonna start off with a $20 donation from Ruth Harris, who says, "Night in the Woods is the game that finally convinced me that I could and should make games. To Scott and the rest of the Night in the Woods team, thanks for doing good work to put good queer representation in one of the best critically received games of the past few years." That's a pretty
That's
big,
awesome.
it's a pretty big thing. I'm not even done with it, but like just that is already a lot for the, that's a good comment and extremely true about this game. Let me continue. Sorry. A lot of people are eagerly looking forward to following in your footsteps in that regard. Thanks for paving the way.
It's awesome. I don't know that we blazed any trails. We're certainly, there's a whole lot of games that tackle a lot of these, issues and stuff, and represent queer people like very, very upfront. It was weird because occasionally someone will ask, usually like an interview or something, they'll be like, "So what made you decide to put like a gay person in the game or something?" And it was like this because the gay people exist.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if I'm
world.
correct, May is shown to be kind of bi, right? If I remember correctly.
Gender is not something that enters into May's calculations at all. So I think she'd be technically pan, though I don't know that she'd even be up on whatever the terminology is, to be honest.
I mean, we're about to, when we get to the graveyard, we're going to get to have a fun talk about what kind of person that she wants in her life. And if I remember correctly, it's just, she wants someone that she could wrestle, and they just have to be Gur. So I guess
Yeah,
if you
that
guys
should
have been dreaming of dating of May, just make sure that you have plenty of Gur, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, May is really exacting about who she would like to end up with, and a lot of it has to do with like either being able to wrestle and also being able to go and watch wrestling. Yeah, there's a little hidden conversation near the end of the third act that you can get talking with Rabies the possum, where May kind of describes like her ideal far future, and she discusses a bit kind of where she sees later adult May in like her ideal relationship and stuff. So there's a bit of info there, but for the most part, yeah, May is she's like, yeah, whatever, as long as you can like wrestle, and we'll go watch wrestling with me. That's about it.
Yeah,
Which I mean, fair.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. I enjoy my WWE myself. I
Mhm.
can't lie. By the way, we just
I
got the spookiest story ever about pharmaceutical CEOs and such. I like Bay's decision on what scary is. It's very realistic.
Yeah, Bee's just at a different point in her life than May is, certainly.
Which is very good. It's very good for contrast. Yay, let's get some leaves off here.
One of the reasons why we kind of encourage people in the game is like made to be run twice is to get the contrast between all of their lives, like Bee's life, Greg's life, and May's life, because they're all really, really different. Whereas, spoiler, Greg is like running around the woods, like, he's got his own issues and stuff like that, but he's free to go run around the woods in the afternoon. Whereas Bee is like has all these responsibilities and then has to go grocery shopping and then has to cook for her dad and all these other stuff. They just have really different lives, and what is expected of both of them is really different.
Yeah, for a fun thing, very quick, just, speedrun stuff. Wow, 95 years, poor family, and he loved his bike are the fastest ways to get through those tombstones. Gotta share my
Sure, he did
speedrun
love
bits
his
of
bike.
fun. He did love his bike. He smooched it.
I have some more donations if this is a time for that.
I'm about to actually go into some pretty fun text stuff.
Okay.
In general, but I know we're gonna have a nice moment. Like, let me see here. After the graveyard, we will have a long moment where there'll be a lot of sitting that'll be perfect for donations.
Gotcha. Let me know. Thanks.
Okay. I admit, as this game goes on, when it comes to speedrunning notes, the notes get shorter. After we get through this next tower, we're gonna hang out with Greg like 2 more times, and then after that, the rest of the notes for the game are literally less than half a page long.
Yeah, it's a lot of mashing, I'd imagine.
Yes, and near the end of the game, all of the fastest choices are the mash choices, which is unusual. Right here, that's not quite the case. Have you ever done it? You can just call it sex. We're grown-ups here. Is the fastest one, and no is the fastest.
I'm sad. This is one of my favorite scenes in the game, and I would
It's incredibly wonderful, and I mean, I've got to say, if the sex is less memorable than the math camp, you're doing something wrong. And you see, this is where she talks about wrestling.
Yeah.
I could wrestle. I don't care if they're a guy or a girl, see? They just have to be gur. You know, that distinguishable quality.
The most embarrassing story ever thing is, I think, my favorite bit of dialogue in the game, maybe. There's
oh god. Everyone's
yeah.
saying just, oh god. They know.
There's also a part where Angus and Greg switch names in the chat. Like, Greg goes on Angus's account and Angus goes on Greg's account and chat, and you end up talking with them as they go back and forth and various things. That is probably the other. If I had to like submit the best parts of the game, like as far as just goofy conversation.
This game very certainly oozes charm in so many little moments. Let's see here. Oh yes, this is the part that I mentioned earlier. Obviously because of dreams, like, did you ever see my mom? And we always say yes, because it's equal and it's the right thing to friggin' do. It's literally in the guides and how to like run through the game. We actually just say you say yes because it's the right thing to do. We don't get to hang out with her much this time. Normally, I mean, you could just go through a full B route and you're going to be losing like a minute or so off of doing a really good Greg one. But it's very easy to learn for newer players, so like... Oh, I don't think I wanted to be there. Ah, darn it. Man, I'm just not having luck with the jumps today. Let's see here. No luck again. Here, why don't you go... I mentioned it'd be a good time for donations. Definitely right now. Just in case this decides to be tricky on me. Because it just is.
I will hop in then. First off, I have a $5 donation from Comrade. Good luck on the runs. I love Night in the Woods. Steve Scrivens is scum and a criminal. And speaking of criminal acts, I would like to point out something that somebody said in chat, which is gender is a construct and May beat it apart with her bat.
That's wonderful.
May doesn't give a fuck in general.
Yeah. She doesn't.
Wait, hold on. I forgot. I was supposed to not curse on the stream.
Nah,
Sorry.
it's fine. Just, not too much, but... I mean, it is true, though,
We're starting a swear jar for donations.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a really good idea!
I should have done that right at the top, and then I just would have cursed normally. And then ended up donating like $5,000.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to try to self-brag too much, but I'm also running Hamtaro later. And on Sunday, I think it's like Sunday right in the morning. If you'd like to have a character named after yourself, you can bid to be able to name Hamtaro or Bijou. That game also features gay hamsters, so please show up. I'm not actually kidding. There are actually gay hamsters.
Canonical gay hamsters.
Yes.
So Night in the Woods didn't start gay representation in video games. It was actually Hamtaro for the GBA.
Apparently. I found it very... In that game, as a fun fact, there are two... there's like these different things for if there's boy or girl ones. Like there's different models, and there's this one group of models that is two boy ones, and they are really in love, and they're really strong and muscular and stuff. So it's very adorable. But yeah, so
I love it.
There's a lot of other donation incentives, by the way, guys, to name things or get other runs. We're gonna be mostly getting out of here, so hey, if you want to mention some incentives, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna mention an incentive by way of mentioning a another donation. Um, JH donated $30 and said, "Come on, everyone, let's get the Super Mario Land 2 glitch run. Also, keep being awesome." I think
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
no kidding, guys. Throw it. I mean, even if you just got $1 or whatever, throw it in. I mean, everything counts, right? And it goes towards the Trevor Project, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome charity. Definitely worth supporting.
Yeah, very good, very good. And we are almost halfway there for the Super Mario Land 2 bonus run. So definitely, if you want that, get it in soon. And keep in mind the Sonic Forces build an OC, build your own Sonic OC to be used in the run. What better thing to donate for? That's coming up soon after Super Mario Land 2.
That is very on brand for Sonic.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
I can't believe it took them so long to make that happen.
Yeah. It's such a conflicting thing because like I think like in the game the first thing that happens is like Sonic basically dies and then after that you get to make a Sonic OC and then that's your character in the game. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's how I had it described.
I'd play more Sonic games if Sonic died in them.
I mean,
That'd just
if
be
you're
like
bad at them,
Each one just begins with like the death of Sonic, and then someone else having to take over Sonic's like quest or whatever.
That would be very
specifically somebody
interesting.
else's OC.
Yeah.
I have one more donation for right now.
No
It's,
problem. This is mostly mash text as we talk to God for a minute.
Oh, nice, cool. Okay. I have $250 from Natters, who says, "What's up, nerds? Greetings from Pittsburgh. It's really cool to see a Night in the Woods speedrun, and I'm really looking forward to replaying it on my upcoming cross-country flight. Good luck on the run." Thanks, Natters.
Yeah, that's a great donation. I recommend, again, don't speedrun it when you do it on your flight. Please enjoy this game.
Yes.
Enjoy it a few times. By the way, I find this amazing that the idea of a giant cat god, the scariest thing to them is fleas. That's very good humor. Such a good touch.
Yeah.
Poor May at this point is going to start having a few more problems, a lot of headaches, and just some general not fun, you know.
Yeah, May doesn't have a great time through the back half of this game.
It's true, and like I said, it's interesting because the further you get into this game, the less notes we have to have, and I feel like there's like an emotional thing to it where at some point it's just driving, even for speedrunners, it's just like driving forward because she so badly wants to figure out what's going on and all of this struggle and weird speedrun things.
Well, she's kind of running from a lot of problems through the first, chunk of the game. And so it eventually gets to a point where she can't outrun them anymore.
Yeah, guy. I mean, we'll get to see a little bit of her talking about her general mental health stuff. But let me say this: if you guys have mental health stuff, please don't be like ashamed of it or anything. Get yourself help and live a happy life. Very, very worth it. I know we had RPG Limit Break Summit recently to do everything for Nami, but still, gotta support people getting help and things like that. Especially because I know this is an LGBT, stream, and I know that life is not always easy for LGBT folks. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
they've
I mean,
definitely had that pain.
we are supporting the Trevor Project, which is they do many things, but their primary thing that they provide is a suicide hotline for LGBTQ youth. So
Okay, good, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the mental health stuff, like a lot of that comes from like direct experience from a lot of us who were on the core dev team, dealing with it. Like May's issues that she talks about are things that I kind of had experienced at a young age. I didn't have quite the reaction that she did, but it was still like something that kind of really messed with my head when I was younger, and I've kind of dealt with since. And also just a lot of the general talk about anxiety and depression and like bipolar that's in the game too is stuff that was very much shared by a lot of us who were in who were making the game So it's another one, like, because this is another one of those things, like having queer people and people ask, like, why in the world would you do that? Like, it's the mental health stuff is literally just us talking about what we know, as opposed to us like trying to, we didn't have like a checklist of like, okay, in game, make gay people who are depressed something. It was more like just talking about people we knew, people who were us, and and just kind of the various things that we kind of knew and had dealt with, or the people that we knew and loved had dealt with.
Yeah, by the way, guys, we're going to be heading to a donut shop. Today is International Donut Day.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Or at least
man.
National Donut Day, yes.
I actually had a donut today, too.
You celebrated.
Yeah.
Several places are giving them out for free and stuff, so, I mean, if you're watching this at work right now and you're like, man, I could get a free donut after work, you can. Go enjoy yourself.
I had a coffee roll from Dunkin' Donuts.
Ooh, yeah, Dunkin' Donuts, free donut if you buy a drink today. Awesome.
That is why. Okay, Bethany got a free donut, and I was wondering why I didn't get one.
Oh, so
And
unfair.
I just bought a Diet Coke. I didn't get an actual like drink.
Let's see
I'm gonna
here.
have to take a break later and go pick up one of my favorite circular fruits.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Go through this little conversation, and then we'll be able to pop the trunk, by the way. As you can see, even these two, who are like amazingly cute and everything together, they have problems, guys. Even the best relationships. Sometimes you have to go through things together, and
We got some hate mail for this early on because people were like, "How could you make them fight?" It's like, listen, this happens. This is what happens in a relationship sometimes.
yeah, even the best of stuff. People like, and I mean, and they obviously are gonna work through it, so that's all good. Yes, we're at Donut Wolf, which I believe that you guys have some Donut Wolf shirts for the game too that are like amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, Donut Wolf was. We did a talk in Pittsburgh not long ago, and we, our friends at Commonwealth Press who we do our merch with, and who are just really good friends of ours. We had it at the talk at their warehouse, and they made a Donut Wolf donut truck with like decals and official branding and stuff, and got a local donut place. I think the donut company's called Just Good Donuts to make up official Donut Wolf donuts, and we gave them out at the talk.
That's
out of the truck.
amazing.
It was really fantastic. I was really blown away by what they did there. I was just like, I showed up and my jaw was hanging. And the donuts are true to form with this game. Like, you would like puke if you ate 2 of them because they were so rich and just like these cosmic donuts.
Time to destroy some things. I was gonna say, I've seen I say it jokingly, but a donut cosplay where some people iced the donuts to match in the game.
Yeah. These donuts were all matched, like we're all based off of the in-game ones too. But occasionally, like at PAX, someone will come up and be like, "Hey, I made you some donuts," and they will be like the exact donuts, and it's just amazing.
When people really love a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're also seeing a little
like
bit of
about
May's
it-
personality, by the way.
Yeah. Well, because May has like a lot of her and Greg's kind of ne'er-do-well vandalism and stuff is all kind of in their past. So these are kind of like the last little like bursts of them. So I think like this is a much better, that little sequence there is a good idea of like May maybe in her younger teen years. May is seeking negative attention.
I mean, I don't know if anyone in this chat can ever say, and who are watching right now can ever say they've never done one thing that was quote-unquote wrong. So, you all know what you've done.
I've kind of talked about this before, but we occasionally, after the game came out, had a few people who were just like, May is just like such a horrible person, and etc. And like, because she like commits crimes and does all these things. And before the game came out, I didn't think I was like much of a dirtbag, but so much of May and so much of what goes on in this game is like based on stuff just from my past and other people's past who are involved with the game. So after people like talking about all the different things that May is doing wrong, I was like, man, maybe I am kind of a dirtbag.
I think a big thing for May is that through the game she does learn a little bit about herself and the bad things that she's done. I noticed that a bit. So I mean, we all make mistakes, but
yeah, she's grown up a little bit. Yeah, I think a lot of folks wanted the game to be about how you fix May's life or something, which is not what the game is about at all. Like, May was, spoilers, is not going to like get a job and completely fix everything by the end of the game. That's just like, this is not a game about that, like all these things being overcome. It's kind of more about kind of growing and recognizing problems and kind of being able to start to push back on them or cope with them, but not having all the answers yet. I feel like we'd almost be like selling a lot of the issues and things we talk about in the game short if it was like solvable by the end of the game.
That seems incredibly fair, because none of it is stuff that's easy by any means at all.
Like, we're not even talking about like, so we haven't gotten into it because a lot of it is peripheral to like the critical path, but a lot of just even the economic and political stuff in the game, it's like, yeah, you're not going to fix that by the end.
Yeah, no, that's not possible at all.
And a lot of what the game talks about is people dealing with struggles and forces that are bigger than they are, and things that like they didn't bring upon themselves at all, be it mental health things that you just develop and are exacerbated by things that are out of your immediate control, and living in a town where the fate of the town and a lot of the people in it are decided by things that they have very little control over.
Yeah, not much you can do. Like, I had a really emotional moment when we saw stuff for the food donkey closing down. It reminded me as a kid, we had this like local grocery store ran by like one of the local families, and it's one of those things that over time it couldn't afford it, and Walmart came in and like literally like just like how it happened in the game. And it was interesting because I have those memories, and I can even like I knew the people who ran that store, like knew them. So that was sometimes you just can't control those things, and it sucks. And
yeah. And they can be seized on by like really like shitty people. There's another curse. Hold on, that's 2 for me here.
Haha! Yeah, I'm
really,
making money for charity in a unique
really
way.
Crappy people and stuff can seize on that and do really horrible things with it too. That kind of desperation and those kind of things and stuff, and a lot. Some people can use that as an excuse to do some really bad stuff. But I think that what I hope is that through the end of the game, people take away the fact that there are ways to fight this in good ways, beyond just kind of giving yourself over to kind of all the bad impulses that can come from that. Or you can at least start to, seek that out, maybe. So I don't think it's like okay, we'll just do this and everything's fixed or anything.
If only.
Yeah.
But so we're coming up on a game that for part of the game that for speedrunners is a little torture. Yeah, as Baraboo puts in his guide, complaining about this is mandatory. So,
please do.
The game being able to load so much faster is what made people move over to the weird autumn update versus using the old one. So we don't actually try to hunt down some of the old versions of the game or anything like that. People have been interested about the possibility of getting a hold of that one beta where we could fast forward. Like, that'd be amazing, but then this, we are going to go hang out with Greg, and there was something added in Weird Autumn where we have to do some stuff with a flashlight, and it takes about an extra minute. Despite that, I mean, I'm going to say, like, the creators of this game made the loading screen so much faster that even by being stuck there a minute, we've still gained time, so...
That's all Alec, I believe. Just tweaking and optimizing and stuff.
It's amazing, truthfully. Like, the difference is that much that we still saved like 5, 6, 7 minutes on just load time. So props to the developers on that. But we've all joked that we'd like a way to skip it, and we thought, we'll use that notebook glitch, and then you guys fixed it. So we couldn't do it. Alas.
Well, I'm gonna make another note. Add longer, unskippable sections.
We'd start using the
At
old versions
random.
if we had to. This is where, for a while, I was doing some run stuff where I would go and see Greg first before B for like the final day when we were doing an almost all B route. Wake up! I just want to make sure that I get. Okay, check the Historical Society. Because if you do it in the other order, you get to do this really awesome thing where you smash light bulbs. The problem being is that I was on a really great world record pace run and accidentally smashed light bulbs.
No.
That was a fun day. I'm just sitting there like, well, I think I killed this. That's good.
I honestly forget how much stuff is in this game. And like there's so much writing, and I wrote, I'd say 97% of the dialogue you see on screen. And so, like, there'll be jokes that I forgot about from, like, 2016 or 2015 or something. And I'll see that and be like, or something. And I'm like, I'm laughing at my jokes 2 years later. This is some kind of sad moment or whatever. But, like, yeah, there's so many little things throughout the game that I completely occasionally just like forget about how much stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a whole light bulb smashing bit, and oh, there's all the telescope stuff, there's the entire, you haven't even been up to the church.
No, exactly.
You haven't been up to the outskirts, you haven't hung out with Germ at all.
Yeah, there's so much we have to miss because speedrunning.
Yeah, no Lori.
Yeah, which is so sad because Lori is such a fun little adventure to have.
I like Lori a lot. I'm a big Lori fan.
By the way, if you have another donation or anything, probably a great time since we're mostly just stuck waiting for this, again, a whole minute. Nothing we can really do.
That sounds good. I have several donations, which now brings our donation total up above 1,000 with $1,002. So, way to go, everybody. Yeah, let's keep it up and keep going for the Trevor Project. And first, I have from Zoe/Rip Hostile, excuse me, $25 saying, "Hey there, thank you so much for making this stream happen. As a trans girl who went through some hard times, it makes me so happy to see an event raising so much money to help people like me."
Awesome.
I feel that, Zoe. Thanks for your donation. I also have Vraz with $50 who says, "Donuts rule, okay?"
They do rule. This is I'll say this for people who do speedruns of this. This section is so confusing because of the elevators and everything. It's so wonderful.
And we were hanging at $9.97 for a little bit there. So we have $5 from Ted M, who says 1K Pan May. Earlier the chat was just screaming Pan May for
there's someone on Steam once, or a Reddit or something, was freaked out by the game because the sex is mentioned, and pretty frankly, it's not like particularly, this is like the least horny game on earth, but like but someone was just really weirded out that sex was mentioned and that May's sexuality was like mentioned in passing, and they were like, oh, this game, like, it's supposed to be these cartoon characters, like I didn't expect some sort of pansexual cat Caligula. And so pansexual cat Caligula has been one of my favorite terms that came out of the reactions to this game.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Pansexual cat Caligula.
I also have $3 from Proto Magical Girl who says, "Okay, fine, I'll do it myself." But she actually missed it, so next time you have to push us over to $2,000, Proto.
Oh, dang.
But thank you for your donation.
I'm excited. I think I was talking to her. There's going to be another event where I'm doing Mega Man DOS later in the run. I'm trying to not advertise myself too much, but guys, there's so many cool games. If you're liking this, and I mean, yes, it's amazing that we have a dev here for commentary, but like, don't miss the other games because seriously, you're going to see some great speedruns. But we're doing Mega Man DOS later, and I think it's like the two of us may race that at some point, and I'm really excited for that.
Yo, the Mega Man, so I'm plugging myself a little bit here in a way, but the Mega Man block is great because we have a lot of we have original Mega Man games, and then we have DOS Mega Man games, as well as one for the Game Gear, which I think is also like a weird port. But the DOS ones are like somebody, I think it was like somebody who worked at Capcom or something like that, or I don't know, somebody.
Yes,
like,
someone who worked at Capcom, lost their job at Capcom, and then asked, hey, could I just keep making this game? And then they let them.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and they basically, it looks like it was something that was made by somebody who like looked at Mega Man and was just like, yeah, I could make that. But like it's completely different. Like it's completely not what you expect. So that's like the context that's really hard to explain in the schedule, but like I'm super excited for the Mega Man DOS runs as well as just the normal Mega Man runs, because you know they're always a thing. And plugging myself here a little bit, I'm racing Mega Man X2 with Zetz tomorrow morning, and I am very frightened because Zetz is going to destroy me. But that's okay because she's great and we're friends, and I don't we don't have like a huge rivalry or anything. But
I'm afraid
You gotta get one going.
Yeah, we gotta get some drama going.
It needs some blood sport in here.
yes.
Most fun part of the speedrun, knowing exactly which one of these eyeballs that shows up is the paperclip. Let's see if I get it right.
Oh,
There we
luck.
go, got it.
There it is, nice.
It's actually really hard to do that fast, because it's just like, oh god, why? There's so many. Let's see here. I think I'm afraid for my run. There's a little RNG in it. I'm doing that Hamtaro race that I mentioned, and it's a little terrifying because the RNG can really get you behind. And I've only had like 2 runs this month during practice that have gotten past it without having to do a redo, and I'm like, oh no. So you guys gotta check those out. And again, there's tons of awesome runs, so don't skip them. See them.
I am actually pretty excited to watch your run, I must say. I saw whenever we were selecting games for the schedule, and I saw it and I was just like, what is this? And then I was just like, it doesn't matter, it's cute and it's a race. This is the best. This is the best possible thing. And so I actually did also start playing it a little bit on my GBA EverDrive, just like out of curiosity. So I now actually have familiarity with the game, which is pretty exciting.
See, that's one thing that I love about speedrun marathons. For one, I've found out about so many games that I just didn't know exist thanks to speedrunning, and then I've like, oh, I really like this game. And then, like, I didn't know Mega Man DOS even existed, and then I found it on accident and said, I want a world record. Took me a long time to get it, but there's so many cool games and stuff out there that you, like, find, or people who are, like I said, like, we have a dev here. Like, we have somebody who's like, I made this game, and then they get to see it get ran, and it's so cool to me.
And they can occasionally say, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, the people who did this game, you guys did a great job, because there's not, like, I had thought, like, originally, like, when this run first came around, like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to definitely submit to Power Up with Pride. Maybe we'll be able to do a glitch exhibition. And then you fixed it all with Weird Autumn, and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing left. The closest thing I can think of is at the very beginning of the game, sometimes if you mash the jump button after you fall off of the tree, the screen will go out of place for a moment. That's it.
I think I know where that is, too. I think.
Oh, by the way, guys, I mentioned movement tech, so we can't do the jumping to turn around perfectly here, so if I do this correctly, we should see almost no dust every time I turn around. I'm still getting a little, darn it. There's a perfect one.
There it is.
And that's how you wave dash in Night in the Woods. Everyone, I always do a joke with people, there's so much more movement tech than you would actually think. Poor thing. That building is not very fire safe.
No.
No, not at all.
Watching that was really funny because that entire part of the game is like really slow and tense and quiet. So just watching you sprint through that while we were chatting was really funny. So I'm like, yeah, you're missing kind of like all fence and everything. So it's like otherwise you're kind of just basically walking through a bunch of hallways.
It's quite true. Like I said, that's the one part of the game that can really confuse new runners, is getting used to that giant elevator bit of magic trying to figure out which way to
just
go.
hopping up and down the different floors and what in the correct sequence.
Of course, this is where May's starting to have a few problems, guys.
Yeah, things kind of start taking a turn here.
Yeah, and fun fact, the rest of the game, every single mash option is the fastest. So I don't get to be like, look at this fun text thing. One save. It's like, no, the rest of the game is entirely mash choice. So I apologize for less exciting things to talk about there.
You could just make things up and we wouldn't know.
I mean, that's true, but I don't want to be that cruel. There will be something slightly different than our normal route. There will be a short period of time. If you play through the game and get all the stuff through Greg, you get slightly different text because Greg is your closer friend at this point of the game. And you also get to control Greg for a very short period of time at one point. So that's a fun thing that you get to do.
That part is fun to watch streamers do. Because usually, you know, things, like I said, take a bit of a turn here and then obviously change pretty drastically to a point where you're controlling another character, and usually people just sit there going like, what? Like, what just happened?
Yeah, different perspective out of nowhere. It's a very powerful moment.
Yeah, I'm still pretty happy with how that turned out, and with the people's just bafflement with it every time I watch someone play it is really satisfying.
Also, guys, find someone who'd be willing to punch an owl for you. That's your new romantic age, thanks to Angus.
Oh, Angus, he's the absolute unit.
Yeah, I mean, willing to punch an owl, just really existential at moments.
Angus.
I have another $50 donation.
Oh, dang. Go ahead and read it. We're mostly going through text at this point.
Sweet. From Natters again, who says, remember to only smash stuff outside. Greg rules okay.
Someone's referencing the canonical Greg voice there. Greg has a canon voice. And if you go on to YouTube and just type in Best Judge Judy ending ever, he's the guy with the leather jacket and the glasses. And that donation was a reference to something that that delightful guy says.
No, this is really fun. This guy has a severe injury, like probably like his leg is like broken and his bones are sticking out, and they're just like, man, this really sucks, man. I really wish you'd stop complaining while we kill you. Like, ugh. But it's, I suppose it's an interesting thought if you get used to doing it so much. I mean, at some point, yes, that's kind of what would be your reaction to it, right? Just like...
I think, like, yeah, it's one of those things where they're all just super... Well, I mean, it's a speedrun. You know you're going to get spoilers. But,
yeah.
like, I think it's something that they all are just like, yeah, we kind of know the rules of how this works. Like, this guy certainly would know. So, him... just, being kind of making a big fuss about it is something that they're like, can you just stop, man? Like, we feel bad enough about this already.
Yeah, and fun fact, for speedruns, we try to get hit by the rocks because it's faster. So we just wait patiently until we're caught.
There it is.
I remember the first time I was playing through this with my girlfriend, and it was just, it was impressive how long we were trying to go, like, jump over these rocks, try to not get caught, and it's like, then I went to speedrun it, and it's like, yeah, this is futile, you get caught. Like, there's no matter how long you last, you just have to accept it. So this is the end of everything, where stuff gets a little weird.
Yeah, so we're into Act 4 now, where everything is kind of non-standard for a while.
I live in
playing basically a Tony Hawk game.
That feels just about right. And yeah, see, at this point, all of a sudden, we're Greg. And if you, again, if you make friends with B, you end up being super friendly with her instead, and she's the one that you're controlling. So it's another incentive to potentially go different routes. But I mean, Greg rules. Okay. I mean, I was really wondering how that would end up going in general, like, for the incentives. And I'm kind of, it was like nothing for Greg right away, and I was like, wow, that's surprising.
Uh-huh.
Y'all got me at the end, though.
Well, I think you performed pretty admirably in the all the kind of skill-based sections.
Minus a
Especially
couple
that
jumps. Don't know what
Yeah.
happened.
Nah, that was good. Someone kind of took us to task, jokingly, after the game was launched. They're like, why don't we ever get to see Angus and Greg kiss? And there was supposed to be a kiss in that conversation you just had with him. But then
Aw.
I ran out of time and didn't have time to make the animation for it. So just they kiss off screen.
Yes. Don't worry. They're very
Yeah.
romantic.
It's there.
Now I'll say this: if you have any donations, a great time to do it because we are forced to walk incredibly slowly for a long period of time, and there's nothing we can do about it.
In the game where like it's kind of defined by being able to bounce on everywhere, it was fun having a section that was like, you can't do any of this now.
It shows just how sick and not great feeling that she is at that particular moment. Huge contrast.
Also, probably very bad for speedruns.
Oh yes, it's not fun. I mean, there's nothing we could do about it, but at least for speedruns, by the time you get past a lot of the really scary, hard stuff, like I said, the end notes for the game, after you go to that hotel, are less than like a fourth of a page long, because all of the text is mash, and we have a joking final boss fight we'll get to. I mean, there's that, but and
Do
jumping
you have
up.
any? Oops, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Sweet. Got $8 here from Towai, who says, "Congrats on making it over $1,000 for charity." I too remember people saying that May was a horrible person after the game came out. I remember previously saying, "I don't know if I'd be friends with May if I lived in Possum Springs." But when I saw the bad takes, I knew I must defend my perfect child, May Borowski, at all costs. This donation goes toward my other child, Claris, for the final level with my one true love, Knights, who is canon non-binary.
Oh, that's awesome.
Towai, $6 again, just donated, but had to donate again to get the total to $10.69. Cheers. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
I have $5 from Rachel S. It's great hearing fun facts from Scott Benson and the commentators during this night and the commentators, or well, I guess just you, but during this Night in the Woods speedrun. Keep up the great work, especially for such a great cause. Happy Pride! And
I will say
sorry.
this: you'll be amazed if you go out like that. That's cool. That character is like canon non-binary. You'd be amazed if you just look into games sometimes that those little things that they're there. It's really neat. But anyways, it's a lot more mashing. So please, donations.
Sweet, rad, awesome. I am refreshing something real fast because, yes, the Super Mario Land 2 donation incentive has been met.
Awesome.
With this $160 donation from Foofoof. So a round of applause for Foofoof, who says, Power Up with Pride Weekend is finally here. Hopefully nobody else donated in between, and my math is right, and we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. And we are! So
Yay!
heck yeah!
Nice.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Foofoof. Quality human.
Yeah.
Real
I
great.
was gonna just real quick say that church scene, if you play through the game in a more expansive way, is like it's got a lot more going on in it. There's like several more people that show up and have some things to say.
It is much more interesting if you go through. It also highly implicates that the goat, that if you talk to him normally in the game, he's like you were like super friends with him when you were a kid. He's like one of your neighbors, and it heavily implies he's part of the cult that was shooting at you. It's very neat. Just like, dang. Sometimes you just don't even know. The people right next door could be part of a murder cult. It's so unfortunate. And here again, we'll be trying to, we'll get another chance to eat some pizza here, but we won't do very well because, May's not feeling very good. Another mini fun fact, I should have mentioned it when we were eating pizza earlier. You can actually eat Greg's crust, and it gives you a special text thing for doing so.
And yeah, you get a Chivo at Krusty. For eating someone else's crust.
Poor May. She's quite sick, guys. I mean, it's probably the whole seeing God and being shot at. I'll do that to somebody.
Yeah, she's having a bad time. a lot of it reminds me of like not to get too personal, but like before I kind of got help for my bipolar stuff, that kind of like the final really bad weekend, like geez, I definitely need to get help or something, kind of feeling. I feel like May is just feeling like all these things crash down on her at once. And just being like, yeah, I'm not okay right now.
Let's see here. Normally I'm used to doing this with B, so I don't know if I need to go talk to B or not, but I'm going to guess I'm going to have to before they let me go to bed.
Yes, I think you need to talk to everybody.
Yes, normally I think it's like you have to talk to a couple people and then you can go back and then it's all good. Again, I'm usually used to having B at this point. The fastest run for this game, you build a robot with Greg, then unfortunately we don't really get to see him again. And it's very sad because Greg is awesome. I'm just happy that I managed to find a way to sneak him into the normal speedruns in the first place. There we go. Can we all hit the sack? Because normally you have to talk to each of the protagonists, like each of the major friends there, and then you can go to sleep. So we got that good. And then she talks a little, and then here we go, with May talking a little bit about her health problems. And again, there's nothing more we can really do other than mash through this. She's talking about how there's a reason she's known with the baseball bat. She kind of beat up a guy with a baseball bat. Very, very rough childhood. But I mean, I don't know, I feel unfortunate saying it, but I bet a lot of the LGBT folks in the chat can understand rough childhoods, which is sad. It shouldn't have to be that way, but it's part of why we got the Trevor Project, and that's like a suicide hotline for like LGBT youth. It's a service that's very well needed. So not trying to be like too much of a shill or anything, but y'all should donate. There's so many.
Yeah, you jerk. How dare you get to donate to charity on this charity stream?
I know, right?
Even if you don't donate, I mean, it's still the number one goal, I think, for Power Up with Pride is to make a nice community and to also help people. Like, I didn't really know whenever I started speedrunning that there were so many queer speedrunners out there. And so I think that, like, at this point, I am more hype for this event than I get to be hyped for, like, GDQ, because it's, this is like our event. Like, we have this is our thing, and that's really awesome. And that's, we have each other. So even if you can't donate or whatever, I mean, and a lot of people can't because money is hard and the world is cruel to some LGBT folks, but if nothing else, be sure to note that we have each other, and you're still welcome in the stream even if you can't donate, or you can't donate as much as you would like to. Because
yeah, no kidding. Like, join the Discord, check everything out on Twitter, because I found this through the Winter Pride event, and I was so happy. Like, I'm like, holy crap, there's an LGBT speedrun event? Like, I freaked out a ton, and I'm like, I'm submitting to the next one. Like, no way. And everyone in this chat that I have met, like, while getting ready for this event has been absolutely kind and wonderful. So, at worst, join up the Discord, keep an eye on this. It's great to find gamers who you can identify with and very much understand.
Yeah, in a world that, again, there is gay and other queer representation in games, and some trans representation in games, but like, even so, to also be able to find other people who are fantastic is a really important and awesome thing. And so yeah, thanks to all the runners, and thanks, Scott, for being on just while I'm at it, and supporting us, because I mean,
No problem.
This is huge. And
yeah, I was very surprised by that a little bit before my run, by the way, which was so exciting. I think I actually
for some reason thought it was on the 3rd for some reason, and so I almost missed it.
Oh, so now I'm feeling extra lucky. I had like squeaked. I'm like, no way, we actually got like someone from the game. This is crazy. And here's another moment where we get to walk really slow. Speedrunning heaven.
This section used to be longer. Like, there used to be a much longer walking section that we cut down.
I'm assuming for people, not even just speedrunners. I mean, after a while, walking very slow is not the most fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's like we made our after a while. You're just like, okay, yeah, you get the idea. There's a bunch of parts in the game that we make slow or kind of passive on purpose, just to kind of have you hang out in a moment for a little while. Like Greg's bike ride is one of those.
Which is such a great moment too. It's just so pretty, just going along on the bike.
There's a and like the dance sequence with B and Jackie. There's no Jackie in this route.
Yes, unfortunately. And we don't get to see May twerk, which is really a crime.
Yeah, she's an amazing dancer.
She really is. She's got some dance skills. Maybe next year. I mean, who knows? Maybe if y'all want me back next year for Night in the Woods, we'll do B and just show some
Jackie
stuff
route, 100% Jackie route.
100% route. I'll run it like during the whole marathon, and by the time it's done, maybe we'll have 100% of the game. That's always a great thing, though. Honestly, games that you can come back to and play over and over again and are very deep. You know, you get what you pay for. You get your money's worth when you buy Night in the Woods. Like, you really do.
Yeah. Just sitting here being like, yeah, it's a great value.
And now we have our upside down pentagram on the wall, which is, that's always good. With your cults, you got to have a few of those lying around.
That pentagram ties into another thing that we didn't hit with the three teens.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like another side thing.
So yeah, like I said, guys, if you have not played this game, go play it. You maybe have the main storyline, but you are missing, like countless amounts of the fun that comes from this game. Just talk to everyone, explore everything. Talk to them until there's no more eyeball to talk to people. Like, just do it.
There are entire, huge, lengthy, very expansive arcs in the game that aren't touched by just like a speed run through. And you do need to play it at least twice to kind of get everything. But there's just a lot to it. Like I said, just watching you play this, I'm kind of remembering like, oh yeah, that's in here too, and that, wow, and
and it's sad how much you miss, because like there's so many little things. Like we miss getting to learn a lot about constellations, and which is another really fun thing. If you go there every day, you can go to the person, get yourself some new constellations to learn about, and that's really cool. The constellation lore to this game is a really neat rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, we put a lot in there. Those were really fun to read and design.
And thankfully, right now we're learning about this crazy evil god that they've been feeding people to. So that's really fun.
Yeah, things are bad right now in Night in the Woods land.
Yeah, it's Possum Springs is having it pretty rough. The glimmer takes a shining to you. You can go through walls. Just like, dang. I mean, if you're gonna worship an evil god, I suppose it should come with some perks.
Yeah, theoretically, yeah.
And that's basically what May is assumedly going through right now, is that she's actually been dealing with all of these feelings, and we learn about the Forest Guardian and stuff again in the supplemental games. Please play those. And I mean, the supplemental games are still up for free online, so even if you're like, again, like if you have the game, you've got Weird Autumn already, so I don't know why you would go that route, but I mean, hey, you can just go get them.
Yeah, you can go on itch and they're pay what you want, I believe they are still.
Yeah, which again, I highly recommend doing, but Weird Autumn was a free update tonight in the Woods that added tons of stuff too, so like, not all games would do that. I could see some games being like, here's the Weird Autumn DLC, and nah. Night in the Woods folks were awesome and just let us enjoy ourselves.
You keep it real, okay?
Yeah, if we could actually get to see the songs, which, unfortunately we don't get to, they also add a lot of the stuff to the music sections, which is really cool. Oof.
Yeah, thank you so much for releasing that as just a patch. That's something that you would never see a big developer do, and that's something that's really awesome, and it really sort of drives home the point that, I mean, like, obviously you care about the fans. I mean, you're also here, but also
No, we hate all the fans.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, cry.
Pan May.
Pan May.
No.
Oh, I almost cursed again. Screw the fans. That's our motto. No, we wanted to we knew that we were releasing it on Switch and some other places later on, and we wanted something new for it. And then and we also there was a few things that we wanted to put in the game, and we had some ideas of like little things that we wanted to add in and stuff here and there. So it was just kind of a cool opportunity to do that, and it would just feel weird to charge for it. Yeah, it just feel weird.
Yeah.
We're almost to the final boss, by the way. At least we joke in our guides and such. This is the final boss. In a
Oh
moment,
no, we've joked about this and the next segment being our boss battles.
Yeah, we're gonna have some text mashing coming in here. And another fun thing, whichever friend that you got closest to during the game, is the one that tries to grab you first. And if you do notice too, I'm mashing with C and V because I'm weird. That's not actually the default of action buttons in this game. I'm just a weird person. I need my thing. When I emulate Game Boy games on here, I use C and V to avoid accidentally clicking the shift key. It's become a habit. And of course, May ends up being okay, and then, laughing to the point of crying. Poor. And I mean, that guy's arm, flew off. He's not, he's not coming back,
Poor-eyed.
Two.
Someone dressed up as Eyed once at a con and came and said hello, and I was like, hi.
Of all the choices to pick, that is so unique.
Yeah. Well, first I didn't know who they were, and I was like, who's this dude in big trench coat and stuff? And it's like, okay.
There we go. We're pulling this board out of the way. You just have to be patient a little bit with the board. There's nothing you can really do. Just gotta wait a few seconds, and then I'll come and help. Now we're being, now we're being slightly recklessly left behind because we're so slow. We'll just rush ahead, mate. Don't worry. And then for some reason we let her just lead the pack, and they're just letting her walk right into the water. Who knows if it's deep? Who knows if she'll trip? But just let her walk. Of course, now we meet
just straight negligence.
Yeah, just straight negligent. We meet an evil god in a minute. I mean, they should have maybe been there to keep an eye on that. So this is basically the evil god's last-ditch effort to be like, oh my god, please, let people feed me. And no, that's not gonna happen. On this, I had a dream. Yeah, that's a neat thing too, because they mention every now and then she had this dream and just kind of wanted to come home. That's one of the supplemental games, guys. Enjoy her dream sequence.
Oh yeah, that dream is mentioned a couple times in the game, because there's a bit with Angus that directly references Longest Night, and it makes a bit more sense if you played Longest Night first.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pitch it to especially because we have the dev here and everything, and you're awesome enough to show up. Play this game and play it all the way. Do all the things. It's super worth it.
Do all the thing.
All the things.
Hey, I just wanted to note real fast that we got a $150 donation from Pangasaur.
Oh, nice.
So thank you very much, Pangasaur. And that is toward the Celeste any percent Pico 8 bonus run. Which, let's see how close that is now. Celeste. It is at $169.69 of 300.
Nice.
Right, nice.
So all the way, already over halfway there. Thanks, Pangasaur, for getting us real far on that.
As you all can see, lots of jumping. We have to get up this well. This is, from what I know, this is the well that's mentioned during, this well is supposed to be the place they tried to get water and everyone got poisoned that they mentioned during the Harfest play, correct? At least I think this is, that's why they're referencing that it was actual copper poisoning and not a witch,
There's a lot of lore here that I just do not comment on publicly.
Oh, that's quite fair.
There's
you gotta
so
leave
much,
a
by the
little
way,
for
over the
fans.
past 10 minutes that I haven't commented on, because it's unexplained stuff in the game.
I appreciate that when games have things like that there is no answer to truthfully. Like it's there, but I mean, you just maybe don't know.
Yeah, I think that like stories where like you can like wiki out every aspect of it, and not in the sense of intentionally being mysterious, but just like, yeah, like having all of that just kind of like in like a dispassionate list, I think is just makes for kind of some boring fiction, and so when you write something like this, when you're making a story like this, you want a lot of stuff that is just kind of like, you know, there for thematic reasons or for kind of poetic reasons or for reasons other than here's like the bare truth of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a bunch of that in this game, which I think has confounded folks who were more kind of like wiki-minded.
I think so many people are just used to it that they like not being able to get all the answers is very strange.
Yeah, it's like I think stories that give you all the answers to every kind of component part of it. I think like that could be cool sometimes. Like I play like, I don't know, like the Mass Effect games or something, and there's like a codex for like everything to it, and we kind of and that's cool and stuff. But like for us, I don't think we can write interesting things that way. And the stuff that is interesting to us isn't intentionally mysterious, but it just isn't built to be kind of, for lack of better words, like wiki friendly.
That makes plenty of sense to me. And to be honest, I mean, I guess maybe I'm just one of those people who personally loves that you're never gonna know. And I mean, from what I've heard, the developers from you guys, like after that supplemental game, it's time to go to a new world and a new story. Like it's not gonna be making Night in the Woods 2 and 3 and 4 and like doing all of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that like a lot of the story, like I had kind of an idea for Night in the Woods 2 while we were working on this. Maybe someday, who knows? But it wouldn't be anytime soon if we did. Yeah. So yeah.
I've
maybe,
heard some people are
not.
trying to make a fan game, dating game, where you get to have all of the characters.
They are, because the major complaint that we've had from a lot of fans is dating in the game, that you don't get to kind of romance people.
Which is
that
interesting.
Kind of stuff, it was just, for at least us when we were making it, was just like the least interesting thing we could do with the characters is to be like, all right, now everybody pair off.
Yeah, because even like, because she, like me, if you go on B's thing, she meets someone at the dance, but doesn't really get their number or anything, and that's kind of like, yeah, there's like that little bit of like, well, did they eventually meet up and do stuff? And I always thought that was actually kind of a nice story element, like of just, you don't know, you're not sure, it's whatever.
Yeah. It would be funny if like somehow that had worked out like in game, like this is somehow like this is like not the story of May falling in love or getting her life together or anything. Like that would be so weird if like in the middle of this we just had May successfully hook up with someone at a party. That would be so.
It would
like,
feel
random.
out of place, truthfully.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's a fan game that is a Night in the Wood dating sim. We're not involved with it, like.
Yeah, very much it's a fan game.
yeah, and it looks cool. Like I haven't seen much of it, but I like the illustrator that they have working on it. They're doing really good work on it. So I'm interested to see. It's gonna be fun playing it when it's out, because I'm just gonna be sitting there grumbling to myself, "Well, that's not canon," or something. I'm like, Greg would never say that. Thanks, or something. No, I'm joking. I think it's gonna be kind of interesting to see. Like fan creations are always interesting to look at, and we've gotten a lot of really amazing ones. Which we're really grateful for and kind of amazed at.
By the way, guys, we're almost to the end of the run.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, we're basically there. I'll let y'all know when it's time, but I'm a little amazed, Greg. I set up this estimate, 220, and I'm like, this is like maybe for B route. I'm really excited that we're gonna come in under estimate with Greg.
Nice.
Like, it's definitely a good bit longer and harder. So this is very good, and yet again, all of the mass choices are the fastest. Unfortunately, the last little bit of speedrun tech that we do is to go see Greg. You make sure you take the subway, because then you don't get to go through this long text box talking about how the pasta billies got replaced by a different restaurant. We end up skipping that. It goes full circle. Then we have tacos in town. We ignored the tacos.
And
we've
Dan has a new job, which you missed most of Dan too, the cat.
Yeah, which is sad. See,
Poor Dan.
yeah, there's so many little things, guys, that like when you go through this, there's so many things that you get to explore in the full game. This is my last chance. The run's almost over to just implore you, please check out this game. If you want to speedrun it, check out the Discord community. There's not tons of us, but the people of us who are there, like, we love this game, and you know we play it obscene amounts. So we'd love to have you.
Well, thanks for running it. Like, that's super cool that y'all are so into it. It's kind of amazing to us. Because we literally said when we were making this game, we're like, yeah, no one's gonna want to speed run this because it's not like because there's so much text and there's so much that, and the fact that you guys have like optimized like the text choices through this extremely text heavy game is just mind blowing to me.
Yeah, like a lot of people, that's usually the big question too when people ask like, why do you speedrun this game? I'm like, because I love the game for one, and oh wait, here we're almost at time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
like, I think I've got like 1 or 2 more text boxes. Or okay, maybe a little bit more. Let's see here.
Nope.
Time.
Nice.
Yo, congratulations.
There we go.
Congrats.
I underestimate miracles. Woo! I am pleased and surprised. Not gonna lie.
Awesome.
There you guys go. That was all of Greg. And again, go see all of what B has to offer in the rest of this just amazing game world, because there is so much to be seen.
That's awesome.
And
thanks for running it. That's so cool.
I mean, seriously, thank you for coming in and like doing this commentary. It was like the best surprise. It's made my day, and I know a lot of people are probably excited to have gotten to hear so much about the game.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
I've heard several people who haven't even played this game before, or I've like seen several people talk about like, wow, this run and this commentary and just everything about this run is one of the best things that like this is making the marathon for a lot of people.
I'm honored to hear that. Like, thank you everybody. I'm so glad you enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's comfy, it's nice, and it's just exactly what I think this event is all about, and exactly what everybody needed. So thank you both.
No problem. I mean, I don't have any more big comments. I don't know about Scott, but I figure you guys can get up to the next game. I know these events are hard to keep on schedule.
Yeah, we're already behind schedule, but that's okay.
All right. Well, thank you. Oh, I guess I'll take my one last opportunity. I stream every weekday in the mornings, guys. LiteralGrill on Twitch. If you liked what you saw here, we run this game now and then, so please, come on in, say hi.
I'm gonna go follow you right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes,
fantastic.
Everyone do that and make me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
No problem.
And thanks, Scott.
Oh, wait.